Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Thank you. Now enjoy the show.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Thanks for tuning in to RAERAE all day. You can also catch me on IG and Threads at all day RAERAE, little backwards of the names. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Reunion season 4, part 2 of 3. Part 2 was much more exciting, child. Mary had to. I think Mary thought she was getting some folks together, but unfortunately, it kind of went a little sideways. I like Mary, but it's something wrong. It's something going on up in there. But I love her new hairdos and everything. But I think it's the wealth. When you're in that wealth bubble, the world comes secondary. Sometimes logic, I think. I wish the best for Mary and her family child and her child. Okay, whatever. But in the beginning of this episode, they were still going at it. Monica and her mom, they're still not speaking. And it's kind of hard to believe Monica now that we know her as this big old liar. Pretty, but just this big old liar. How she came on the show and most of everything she's saying is being debunked, especially through her own words, Thanks to Heather and her PI services. Like I said, a single mama with a plan got the best PI services on earth. Transcends ethnicity, race, color, creed, whatever. We know how to get down to the brass tacks. But yeah, Monica and her mom. Monica made it seem like her mom is just the worst thing since girl. But we've seen her mom in action. Mom. Woo. So Monica tells a story about how she thought she bombed her interview with the producers of the show, cried on her mom's lap, and her mom pretty much said, well, if not you, perhaps it can be me on the show. Don't that give you a little bit of what's that movie? You know what I'm talking about. With what's the name of the movie, child? You know what I'm talking about. Saw that movie so many times. What is the name of that movie, honey? What is the name of that movie? With the mama who adopted the son and the daughter and real mean to the daughter and then mommy dearest, child. If this ain't a mommy dearest situation. Now, see, is she, again, it's hard to believe Monica, but we just gonna take it for what it's worth. It's a good little story, and then the whole deal about her using her Latina lineage to get on the show. So apparently the mama and the daddy are both of Latin culture. There is a Darnell, the mom's true birth name is Darnell, and then the name of Garcia, and then the name of Delgado or something. Child, I don't know, but apparently her dad's a deadbeat dad. He left wanted to take the family to Florida. I think the mom was like, no, I'm not going. I'm staying up here. And he never came back. That's the story the mama told her. So, you know, she never knew her dad. Not sure she wants to meet her dad. And then the mom, going back to the mom, right? The mom tweeting, you know, horrible stuff about Monica online. And just, my thing is she gets it from her mama. Because, woo, that mama, I mean, what we saw on the show, I don't think so. Not at all. That's not something I want. Uh, I'm just saying. So Monica talks of mom sabotaging her life, career, man of interest. You know, it triggered Whitney with her mom and how she had a horrible disconnect for so many years until Whitney started to delve into the hurt that she was caused as a child. And I think we delved into this last season, and how she came to realize some hurt that was, you know, some hurt that she had endured. And apparently it sounds like it was at the hands of her father. Now, whatever that is, I don't know. We can speculate. But that revelation Whitney had, and the turmoil and hurt that her father was somehow involved in, made her and her mom come together. More recently, to the fact of, you know, her mom was present for her daughter's sweet 16, or was it 13? I forget. I think it's her sweet 16. Ooh, you know, again, we can only imagine. And the thoughts running through my mind, and probably some of y'all's from hearing this, just really, and then thinking of what her dad was looking like, you know, aesthetically. I'm glad he's not around. That's all I'm gonna say. And I hope that Whitney, like she said, she spent thousands of dollars for therapy, and child, I can imagine what that daddy was involved in. Child, I'm just glad that the traumas that Whitney endured was the therapies that she gotten due to the trauma she endured, is getting her on the right road. And it's in a way it sounds like it is, because she handles stress a lot better than she did originally on the show. But you know, only time will tell. But how she reacted to Heather is just very, you know, it's way too aggressive for my taste. But how she handled the issues with Mary later on, and we'll talk about that. I thought that was apropos. So yeah, Monica again, Monica. So apparently Monica fell at AngieK's house during that Easter celebration where her and her mom got into it and caused a big old scene. So she fell, the shoe flew off over here. AngieK said she threw it, almost hit a kid in the head. And I'm like, again, I don't like AngieK at all. Did I say that already? I don't see it for AngieK. I really wish Monica could resolve, but she's just so antagonistic and demonstrative and just aggressive with these ladies. I don't see her coming back next season. I think this is her one and done, considering how she behaved online to these women, pretty much under their eyes, being terrorized by Monica. You know, more of this drama with Monica falling at AngieK's house is just so ridiculous, to be honest. Again, Monica is really self-sabotaging, and she could really go far, but like I said, this is a one and done. Lisa goes off at Monica as well. They're going back and forth insults, and Lisa's sick and tired of all of the physical insults about her looks, and you know, I mean, Lisa is older, Monica is younger and, hotter, I guess, but again, all of the back and forth, Lisa's sick and tired. I mean, Lisa can go toe to toe verbally. She ain't scared. You know what I'm saying? But Monica in these three legal names, she got Darnell, Garcia, and Delgado, like I mentioned before. Darnell comes from her mom's maiden name. Delgado and Garcia is a mixture of some names, from her dad and her mom's side. And, they're claiming that she was trying to use that as a fixture to get on the show, as, using her ethnicity as the reason to get on the show, right? Sure, I guess whatever works. But I think because of her ties to Jen Shawshank Shaw, is the only reason why she's on that show. And how much, like she said, she had that reality Von Teese social media accounts with whomever else she shared them with, running them with, to get back at Jen. And that's the one thing I hope that can be cleared up, because apparently it wasn't cleared up in part 1 or 2. So hopefully part 3, where they're going to give her the floor per se to, as we saw the burn book, and to bring forth the reasons why she's done what she's done. Because I need to know why. I haven't heard, have you? The reasons why she wants to get back at Jen? That'll be interesting. So speaking of Lisa, her son Jack, who was supposed to go on a mission to Bogota, Colombia, is bouncing around in California, surfing and having a good old time. He probably smoking weed too. These kids nowadays, they want to go where it's legal. Child, I guess. Anywho, so apparently Jack is pussyfooting around with the government, with this whole, mission thing, and I don't think he's going. And anywho, back, what's her name? Heather was a little, she felt left out of Jack's party, which is understandable because, like Lisa said, you weren't on the same mind frame or mindset as everybody else over there with Jack going away, and she didn't really want to hear all the opposition to it all, And that's understandable because that's her son. And Lisa mentioned how Whitney's scared of confronting Lisa about Lisa's non-conventional methods of Mormonism. How Lisa said, I can wear, scantily clad clothes to church. I'm like, what church allows, is more, I mean, really, what church is okay with scantily clad? Because, even though it is, it's just basically, a respect thing that you wouldn't come to a house of worship showing a whole lot of skin. Usually, and again, I know folks say come as you are, but it doesn't mean come with respect for the tradition of where you're going. I know things are changing within different religions. And just like Heather said, later on when Mary presented the racist comments about Mormons, it's all about respecting the culture, respecting their religion, and everything about a certain religion should be upheld, but there are certain things that are changing. But not one would I believe that being scantily clad or coming in a house of worship, looking like you barely have any clothes on would be acceptable. And I'm just saying, I'm not, even if you don't have a suit, or something of, even if it's not a full length dress. The whole point is not to come into a house of worship disrespectfully. And I think we all understand what that would look like. It, titties bouncing and no bra. That's disrespectful. you know, draw, a man wearing, pants with no underwear on. That's disrespectful. You know, y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, because of those things, Lisa has said, oh, I can drink. Well, Mormons don't drink. Well, my East Coast Mormon church does. What? Okay, again, things is changing. I don't know a whole lot about, Church of Latter-day Saints and all them, but just mainly from this, I have, family who is involved in that church, and they're very well conservative and reserved people. And what Lisa is presenting is totally opposite of that. I'm just saying. But yeah, Heather was little, taken aback, and she was, trying to explain to Whitney how, well, you not speaking up is, in a way, I think you're scared of confronting Lisa. And Whitney was like, no, I'm not scared. It's just that I respect everyone's way of doing things. And it's not for her to tell people that they're wrong or to press upon her, thoughts about things on people when they, folks is good and grown, and the people gonna do what they're gonna do anyway. So it's all good there. So then we come to Mary, child. This is where the crux of it all. No pun intended with the crook. I mean, the meat of part 2. So Mary has, blindly have Monica's back. Monica lied to her in the green room, didn't say that she was defending herself when they were confronting her. But we're going to get a full-on explanation in part 3. Maybe that's what Monica should have said, but she made it seem to Mary that they were all, just piling on her, and she didn't have a chance to respond. Oh no, Mary, Monica has been responding, child. Monica has been responding. So, it's just a point of, look at Mary. She's Bambi to it all. She's just Bambi to all of this. She's in her own world. She spoke about she likes AngieK. I don't know why, and Monica and Meredith, and that's about it. She didn't come, excuse me, to season 2 reunion because she didn't like how she was being talked about. And she didn't feel as though she needed to, explain herself. Yeah, that's how a lot of uppity folks feel. They're in their own bubble, and I don't have to respond. I don't want to and don't need to. Okay, Mary. So then she talks about her daughter-in-law, the need for her daughter-in-law to be open and honest with her son when it comes to sexual intercourse. Child, I couldn't just be so disruptive to my child and his wife's lovemaking to where I would make comments about it. Even if I thought she was putting on, what's it to you? Everybody was like, oh my God, what? She walked in on them, child, and just to see for herself because of what she was hearing. She didn't believe the girl was enthralled in so much pleasure. Child, can you imagine? Oh, so they played some recording of Monica plotting and scheming to DM Mary so she could, be called names, and Monica called her a dumb bitch and this, that, and the third. And Mary heard it, and Monica was purposefully interrupting the recording so that Mary couldn't really gauge it out. And they kept telling her to be quiet, and she just kept talking. And that was obviously a ploy of Monica so that Mary wouldn't hear the dumb bitch comment and whoop-de-woo. And then Mary contradicts herself by saying she doesn't tweet about, what's her name? Whitney. Whitney was like, yes, you do. I heard you. And, it's just her and Whitney were going back and forth a little bit. But again, Whitney, like I mentioned earlier, Whitney did well in the conversation, being called a racist. And she did apologize for alluding that Mary and her family, back in season 2, were predatory. But if you caught on, Whitney made it perfectly and blatantly clear that it was not regarding sexual predatory behavior, because everybody was talking about the financial predatory behavior of Mary and her church. So I believe, that was a passive aggressive dig on that with Mary. And listen, Mary, you ain't got to fool with Whitney. You ain't got to fool with nobody who thinks of you and says things about you in a negative light. But Mary has to be aware that the negative things she says about people, y'all just gotta you have to accept it too. Because if you want people to accept what you're saying about them, like calling Heather inbred looking, hey, people could look like they want to look. That was just so wrong. Ooh, again, it's what you say and how you say it. It's the delivery. That could have went a whole different way, Mary, but you chose to say it like that. So, luckily Heather, didn't respond in a negative way. She just took it and was just shocked and surprised. But, some people do, some people don't. And I think that's a part of living in Utah where, incest is prevalent. Mm-hmm. It just is. And it comes from a Eurocentric culture, I believe. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, but a lot of, keeping it within the family, thought process, just being pure of, in nature, thought process, and a lot of cult-like activity, is involved in all of that. And I think that's maybe where Mary is wrong in her thinking of how Heather looks. Because again, they're in that state where those things happen. So, and then when people look strange looking to them, they think that way. So I think Mary shouldn't say everything that's on her mind. Everything doesn't need to be said, Mary. Mary Crosby, girl, everything you say ain't got to be said. It really don't. So as we end part 2 of 3, Mary's racist accusations about how Whitney is based on coming up in the Mormon church. And Mary went on to say how Mormons believe that, African American people are not the chosen people and should not be treated good. And, I think, for all of us who are of a certain age or just are aware, we know the story, but as I know, and as Heather explained it, the Mormon church is making strides to eradicate that particular thing out of their confines and thought processes and policies and things, because they don't believe that anymore. Again, like I said earlier, I have family, African American family, who are Mormon. So, and I found that out years ago. So I think Mary needs some education about herself in more ways than one. I like Mary, but I truly believe Mary needs to educate herself in the things that are going on around her so that does not look like a fool when speaking, because we all know what, leaders of churches, well, I'll say this. When you're the leader, when you're the leader of a church specifically, things that you say are taken literally, not figuratively, because you are expected to know what you're talking about, especially when you're supposedly in a special place with the Lord above. So, with all that being said, I hope that everybody in part 3 gets a resolve. And yeah, with that being said, thanks again for tuning in. That is RAERAEs Review, child. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion season 4, part 2 of 3. Woo, child, that was a whole lot. I tell you, these heifers know how to put on a show. I can't wait for part 3 next week. Yes. Thanks again for tuning in. And I hope that you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I see you next time. Bye. Ray, Ray,